Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about the news that came out last night about Scott Derrickson leaving Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Yes, the reports have come out. Scott Derrickson has talked about it. I don't know if Marvel Studios has said anything about it yet, but Scott Derrickson has come out and talked about it. Scott Derrickson is the director of the original first Doctor Strange. He also directed a horror movie called Sinister. And he was set to direct the new Doctor Strange because it's going to come out in 2021. So about a year from now. It's supposed to come out next year. And he's put out there that he's left the project. Now many people have their, idea. No one really knows why he's leaving Doctor Strange. There's many people who think that it might be about a tonal thing. They put out creative differences. And if you don't know what creative differences can mean many things in Hollywood. It happens all the time in Hollywood. It has happened on multiple projects. The Flash movie has had 4 directors leave it before they settled on these new director. Thor the Dark World had Patty Jenkins on it and she dropped out. Most notoriously, Ant-Man had Edgar Wright on it, director of Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, and he dropped out on the Ant-Man movie. So they've had things like this happen before. And obviously, they almost lost James Gunn on Guardians. So, and to be more, obviously, David Ayers leaving the Suicide Squad 2 sequel because it has been reported by multiple people that David Ayers did get that offer and he decided not to come back and do it again. So he turned down Suicide Squad 2. Obviously, Zack Snyder pretty much being fired off of all of the projects that he was supposed to be a producer on, because Zack Snyder was supposed to be a producer on all the DC projects. So that means Wonder Woman. He was a producer on Wonder Woman. That means Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all that stuff. He's supposed to be a producer. He's supposed to be basically their Kevin Feige. And they fired him from that. So, this isn't anything out of the... I'm not saying out of the ordinary. This isn't anything that hasn't happened before. This has happened on many, many projects. To mixed results. To very mixed results. Hell, Zack Snyder got fired in the middle of Justice League and they had to bring in Josh Whedon. So, like I said, very mixed results. On the positive results, you got a movie like Ant-Man. Ant-Man dropped Edgar Wright, but they brought in Peyton Reed. Peyton Reed, if you don't know who Peyton Reed is, he directed Anchorman. He's the Anchorman guy. Either he directed or he wrote. He either wrote or directed Anchorman, the Anchorman movies. So this is the kind of background Peyton Reed comes from. And I thought he did a great job coming in to direct the Ant-Man movies. I thought he did a fantastic job. So you can either get that, or you can end up with Dark World, where they don't know where they want to go. Where they don't know or you can end up with Dark World. But I feel like Marvel has kind of gotten this shit down to a goddamn finite, degree now, that they know what they want to do and they know what not to do, and they learn from the lessons that they used, and they learn from those lessons. So I don't think they're gonna make a movie as bad as Dark World. Now, how I feel about what do I think happened? I think that Scott Derrickson wanted to push the movie in a direction that Marvel Studios didn't want it to go. Now, Scott Derrickson kept saying that this is going to be Marvel's first horror movie. And Kevin Feige would always kind of be in the background going, well, not horror movie, it's going to be scary. It's going to have scary things in it, but it's not going to be a horror movie. And I was like, okay, maybe they're just, trying to figure it out. But then Scott Derrickson would post up cryptic Twitter stuff. One time he posted up, scheduled release date. Scheduled release dates are the enemy to creativity. Basically, he was talking about having a scheduled release date and the fact that he has to, work around that. Though me personally, I don't quite understand that because the guy hasn't really done too much since Doctor Strange. And he's been working on the script and whatnot for Doctor Strange since 2016. That was 4 years ago. Now, the movie doesn't come out until 2021 of November. So he would have had 5 years to work on this script and everything. And the idea that he's not ready after almost 5 years of working on this thing, I don't quite get that. So, that's just my opinion on the whole, scheduling. Dude, you have 5 years to work on this, man. 5 years is a long fucking time to work on something. But I think that he wanted to rock the boat. I've always thought of the analogy, because there's this thing called the Marvel formula. And I've always thought of the analogy to be a good analogy to the Marvel formula is a rubber band. And Marvel hands directors this rubber band. You can scratch the rubber band. You can scratch the rubber band any direction you want. You can scratch it, you can scratch it, you can scratch it, but you gotta scratch it, but you can't, but don't break the fucking rubber band. And I got a feeling that Scott Derrickson wanted to go in a drastically different direction than Marvel wanted to. The way Marvel's kind of setting this Doctor Strange up movie, it's going to be a Civil War-like movie in terms of impact on the MCU, in terms of scale, in terms of characters that will pop up throughout it. It's going to be a Civil War-like movie. It's going to be a major movie. It's going to be an event film. And it feels like Scott Derrickson wanted to take it in a different direction. Maybe he wanted to make an intimate film. Maybe he wanted to just like, I don't know, I just want to make Doctor Strange. I don't want any characters involved. I don't want to set anything up in the MCU. I just want to make Doctor Strange. And the MCU's like, no, this is what we're doing. You can do what you want to do, but we're doing this too. And I feel like maybe Scott Derrickson was like, well, doing this is going to compromise this. Because he seemed okay with the idea of Scarlet Witch coming on board. But I feel like perhaps, and you saw WandaVision was moved up. And I got this feeling that those two things are going to be so interconnected in a way where Scott Derrickson was uncomfortable with. And which is okay. It's his right to be uncomfortable with the connectivity, because that original Doctor Strange was kind of really a standalone movie. There wasn't really much connection to the MCU other than the wink and a nod and a mention there in a post-credit scene. But even that post-credit scene was directed by Taika Waititi. So, you know, like, it was just a wink and a nod and like things here and there. But like the MCU, the thing that makes the MCU work the way that it works is that it's working on all cylinders as a whole. Is they don't think about the individual. Is that they put enough care and thought into the individual pieces and the individual movies so that people can enjoy those. Because if you don't enjoy the individual movies, you're not going to enjoy the whole ride. But they can't put so much thought into. But they can't give you full, control of the movie because they already have their plans. Kevin Feige has already wrote his roadmap to how he wants everything to go and how he wants everything to turn out. And if you're going to go too far away from that, they can't keep you around. And that's the thing, like, there's some people just like losing their shit on Twitter. There are people losing their shit on YouTube talking about how, oh, this is the end of Marvel, oh, they're stalling creativity, that's why DC's so much better, because they stall, DC let their creators do whatever the fuck they want. Well, guess what? DC doesn't have a $23 billion empire franchise, and you know why they don't? Because they will never be able to do that. There's only so many Joker movies you can make, and there's only so much controversy that can help you make $1 billion. The thing is, DC will never be able to make what Marvel's doing, which is a cohesive cinematic universe, because they've given their directors too much carte blanche and freedom, that by the time that none of it's going to make any sense. I'll give you an example of why it's never going to make any sense, and I'm going off on DC for a second, because I see a lot of people coming at them and like, oh, go do DC. Zack Snyder's interpretation of the underwater and Aquaman and everything was totally different than James Wan's. You cannot have that happening in every movie. In Zack Snyder's Aquaman, they had to use air bubbles to talk. In James Wan's Aquaman, they could just talk. The water even looked different. So that's why DC will never be able to do what Marvel's doing. The thing is, they have to do it this way. Because if they let someone have too much creativity, have too much creative power over the direction of a certain franchise inside, it will throw the whole thing off balance. Then they would have to rewrite everything. They would have to completely. You know how much stuff that it would just completely throw off balance. They can't do it. They can't have that happen. So the thing is, they had to do what they had to do. And the thing is, all these people coming out talking about, oh, Marvel hurts creativity, dude. So you're gonna anybody who says that's an idiot, because that means you're gonna ignore Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, Thor Ragnarok, fucking Black Panther, and Iron Man 3. I count Iron Man 3 in there because he made a Shane Black movie. I even count Captain America: The First Avenger. He made a Rocketeer style movie. Like, that's the thing. I'm like, if you're gonna count those things, you have to put that in consideration. Winter Soldier, things of that nature. They got to make their movie. Shane Black. Do not tell me Shane Black did not get to make a Shane Black movie. Don't tell me Taika didn't get to make a Taika movie. Don't tell me James Gunn didn't get to make a James Gunn movie. This is a case-by-case basis. And Scott Derrickson, he directed one good horror movie. I looked it up. I thought maybe I'm wrong because I really dug Sinister. And when Sinister came out and Scott Derrickson got reported to be doing Doctor Strange, I was like, oh, cool. I like Sinister. Sinister 2 came out. He directed that. It was ass. I have never liked another movie he's ever done. I don't even, like, literally when you go look at his page, you're like, that's it, Sinister. That's it. There's some other stuff there, but no one even knows those movies. None of those movies are even good or even remotely highly rated. So I can't get but so upset. Now, if this was the Edgar Wright situation, again, and they got, say they had, I don't know, fucking Spielberg working on this. Or, like, just this huge, you know, name that's just, like, well-known for quality. And I'd be like, damn, man, I don't know, man. If you guys disagree with this guy's known for quality. Then maybe I would be like, okay, but Marvel's the one who's known for quality, not him. They don't need Scott Derrickson. They need some. They were cool with him. I can imagine that they do with him what they do with everyone else. You bring your flavor. You bring your style. You bring your stuff. You might can even get subplots and ideas out there that you want to push. But you know you have to do this, this, and this, and this. Everything else is you. But you got to do this, 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 and this. And Scott Derrickson didn't want to do this, this, and this. So in short, I'm sad to see him go. I was hoping that maybe he could make improvements. I didn't love the first Doctor Strange, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. At the time, I gave it like an 8.5. I still stand by that. I think it was a very damn solid, good origin story movie. One of the best origin story movies of all time. And a solid entry in the MCU, somewhere in that third tier range of this is solid MCU work where people can just go have a good time, love these interesting characters, learn a lesson, and go on. Like that movie was in that bubble, but I'm not shedding tears over the guy. Like I said, it's not like they lost James Gunn. It's not like they lost the Russo brothers or like someone who made these major impacts on the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. You know what I mean? So, in short, I hope they can find a good replacement for him. And they can't just go hire some random dude. They have to find a good replacement for them. And the replacement will let you know why they let him go. If they find a guy with a horror background, it wasn't the horror thing, it was a directional thing. If they find a guy who doesn't have a horror background, then it was the horror thing. So look out for the replacement director. Whoever the replacement director is, that's what it will be about. So thank you guys for joining me on Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.